Someone has a lot of background noise.
That's probably me. Okay, so if everyone's ready, I'll get us started. Everyone's good?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, the October 15, 2020 meeting of the Yarmouth Conservation Commission is about to be convened as a precautionary measure to reduce the spread of coronavirus. All town buildings are closed to the public. Therefore, this meeting will be held by remote participation. My name is Kelly Grant, and I will be moderating participation for this meeting. I will now turn it over to the chair, or the vice chair of the meeting.
My name is Tom Durkin, and I'm the vice chairman of the Yarmouth Conservation Commission. I will begin by taking a roll call for the quorum. Ed Hoops will join us later. Tom Durkin here. Patricia Mulhern.
Here.
Ellie Lawrence.
Here.
Rick Bishop.
Here.
Paul Huggins.
Muted.
Paul, I know you're there somewhere.
You're muted, Paul.
Offer access based on power campaign collected.
Well, Dave Bernstein
here.
All right.
All right, sorry.
Paul.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. I'm definitely here. Okay. I don't know why my picture is not
For
here.
the quorum present, I will now call the meeting to order. I will ask the moderator to explain how remote participation works.
Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and the Governor's March 23, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Yarmouth Conservation Commission is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access and participate in the proceedings as provided for in the order. Persons who would like to view this meeting while in progress may do so by watching via this virtual meeting or the live feed on the Town of Yarmouth YouTube channel. You may also listen to the meeting by dialing into the number provided in the notice of meeting. We will also post a recording of this meeting on the Town of Yarmouth website as soon as we are able. Please be patient as we work to overcome any technological challenges with the virtual meeting. To reduce confusion, during the meeting, all participants are muted by the moderator. As participants are called upon to speak, they will be unmuted. Applicants can use the raise hand button or press *9 on their phone to identify themselves to the chair. The meeting host will then unmute applicants when they are called upon to speak. During the portion of the hearing designated for public comment, the chair or moderator will ask who in the audience has any public comments or questions. Members of the public attending the meeting virtually will be able to make comment using the raise hand button within the virtual meeting. If you're dialed in, you may press *9 on your phone to indicate that you would like to comment. Please wait for the chairman to recognize you before speaking. Members of the public who wish to provide comment are asked to identify themselves by first and last name and affiliation for the public record and then provide their comment. Prior to concluding opportunities for discussion, comment, or question, the chair will ask a final time if anyone wishes to speak on the matter. All votes must be roll call votes. After a motion is made, there is a second. The chair will ask the moderator to take the roll call vote. The moderator will then report the roll call vote. All motions, decisions, and documents and letters can be verbally read into the record. If it appears the meeting cannot or should not proceed, then the moderator will recommend that the chair request to continue the hearing to a later date and time and/or until public meetings can resume normally. I will now hand the meeting back to the chair.
I will identify each agenda item by its number and full name. The first item on the agenda is a request for determination of applicability. Richard A. Bishop, 17 Point of Rocks Road, Yarmouth, Mass. Proposed in-ground soak pool with a buffer zone to a coastal bank and wetland bordering vegetated wetland. Mr. Bishop, could you tell us about your project, please?
Yes, thank you very much, Vice Chairman. Something I've always wanted to say to the commission. This is a simple, straightforward, minor project in the very elevated section of the town. We'll be installing a precast small soaking pool in the area directly behind the main structure of my home. It's very little will be disturbed in that we will excavate a small 8 by 14 hole, and the soak pool will be put in place by crane, so there'll be very little disturbance by any kind of equipment or vehicles. And that's pretty much it. I think it's pretty straightforward. As I said, it's minimal and simple.
Well, it sounds quite minimal, Mr. Bishop. Thank you very much for your explanation of the project. Did any of the members of the commission have a comment or question? If not, Kelly, do you have any comments?
No, I would just ask that the commission include in their motion the condition for the emptying of the pool when that is done, and that would be under a -3 determination. There was just one other question I had as to whether I don't see a erosion control line on the plan, so I just ask that you include a line of sediment erosion control where the work area is closest to the edge of wetland on that side of the property.
Will do. Happy to do that.
Thank you, Kelly. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to make a statement or question regarding the determination of applicability?
So I contacted,
Hands.
so I had a really lovely wood property.
I'm sorry.
Is that
very nice. It was
some
from
background noise with one
South.
of
My
the
friend B and Whistle.
I think it was background noise, Tom.
Oh, okay.
I don't see any hands raised in the
No, I didn't
audience.
see anything either, nor did I hear anyone. Could I ask for a motion?
So moved, Ellie.
All right, B and Whistle.
Second,
Second, David.
thank you. Sue, would you call the roll?
And
I'll call the roll.
Would you, ma'am?
Durkin,
Aye.
Bernstein,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Hoops is not here, Huggins,
Aye.
and Mulhern.
Aye.
So the motion carries 5-0 and 1 recused.
Thank you very much, commissioners.
Thank you, Rick. The second item on the agenda is Bob Mashewiski, 134 Blue Rock Road, Yarmouth, Mass. Proposed repair of existing access chairs within the coastal bank and riverfront area. Is there anybody on the commission who has a comment or question regarding this determination of applicability?
We have Mark Burgess in the audience, who is the representative for the project, so you're aware.
Would you present it to us, Mark, as you see it, please?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes, fine. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, great. I don't know if anybody made it out to this. I hope you didn't walk down the stairs. So these stairs were quite stout at one. Apparently the bank on the left side slipped, and when it took the bottom piling, the stairs and the stairs shifted off to the side. So the goal here is to two things: put that run of stairs back, but in between that run that's twisted, run that's still okay, I wanted to add a 4 landing, and what that will do is out further, so they'll land on the top 4 feet further and provide enough clearance underneath. If the ground moves again, it won't do this again. The 6x6 pilings that are at the leeward end of the dock will be replaced
Mark,
with larger.
sorry to interrupt you, Mark. Is there any way you could adjust your microphone? You keep dropping in and out.
I do. I don't know how to do that.
Okay. Are you in a
Better
place?
now, Mark.
Yeah, it sounds fine now. It was just
Okay.
dropping out. Try again.
Sorry. So the piling, the existing 6x6 pilings will be replaced.
You continue to cut out, Mark.
Oh, man.
You have a landline?
Hold on. That's not me.
That's me.
Okay, 301.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
And it had a hot.
Enter your participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise, just press. The host would like you to introduce your mic and press *6.
Okay.
And yep. Hold on. I muted myself on the computer. Oh, crap.
Close to Halloween.
Well,
I don't understand why it's doing that. All right, well,
Do you want to drop out and just have your audio on your phone for this and then call back in for the next item?
yeah. All right. I'll leave this way. Jeez. All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's nice and clear. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so the 6x6 posts at the bottom of at the start of the dock will be replaced with slightly larger piles to handle the weight, because that long run of stairs used to rest on pilings at the bottom before the dock, and of course those were twisted over. So 2 pilings will come out permanently, and then the ones at the end of the dock will just be increased so they can take the weight. So the whole staircase literally just moves out 4 feet by the addition of that landing in between those 2 long runs. If you look at the permit plans, the original staircase was permitted with like 5 landings, and for some reason they're not there. So by adding the landing, we're not outside of the original scope of the permit. But obviously these stairs need to be repaired. They can no longer be walked down. When Kelly and I were there, I could walk down on them, but I went out to take these pictures, and that was the last time you can walk on it. It shifted more since the site visit. The work would be done from a barge. So the idea is you'd have a working barge with a crane on it that would pick up the stairs, move them out of the way. They'd construct the landing and the new pilings, and then reset that span of stairs. That's about it.
thank you, Mark. Any comments or questions from the commission?
I have a comment. I did go out there yesterday. Yeah, whatever. Yesterday, obviously Mark did not walk down those stairs because I'm not crazy. But I was just surprised how steep they are, and certainly understand the need for landings. Even in the best of times, it would be a fun walk up. So that's my only comment.
Thank you, David. Rick?
Chairman, Mark, I was out there today on a boat, and it just seems to me that you'll be back to see us for this project sooner versus later. The velocity through that section, I think, has increased significantly. And I don't know what that means for staircases like this, but it just seems to me that there is more erosion happening along that narrow section than I recall.
I would agree. And we have we've engaged the services of Down Cape to do a full site survey. So yes, we will be coming before you either to put a short bulkhead at the bottom to stabilize that base, and or coupled with some slope stabilization. But at the moment, this needs to be done, and then but the survey is in process. But don't hold your breath; they're months away from doing anything.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I have a question. When they remove the lower part of the stairs, they say they're going to remove them and put them out of the way while they rebuild. Where are they going to place those? Will they be on, stay on the barge that they're using, or would they be put up outside the resource area?
I think they would stay on the barge, or if there was a way to prop them up on top of the dock, they could do that. But the Beacon Marine might be the company that does this, and they have a barge big enough that they'll be able to, I think, put the stairs on the back of the barge while they work off the front.
And
but no,
my
we would
follow-up question.
Oh.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yep. Oh, well, I don't think you have a crane long enough to get them up to the top of the bank, and we certainly wouldn't put them on the beach. So even if they have to tug them back somewhere, but either way, they won't be stored in the resource area anywhere.
Okay, and my follow-up question on that is, with the barge that they have, will they remove it at low tide so it doesn't bottom out?
They're going to have to. The river, if it's out in the middle of the river, there's plenty of water, but then the barge can block the
traffic.
Can block some traffic there. So we'll have to address that, but they certainly can't just leave it in the middle. There might be, well, they're going to have to put it somewhere up or down river where there's enough room to park it off to the side in deep enough water.
Twice a day.
Yeah. Well, they'll store it probably off, I don't know, maybe their barge will fit under the bridges now, and it might be able to fit in that area between the two bridges. That's a nice big bowl, and it's deep off to the side, But yeah, if you wanted to put a condition that the barge can't ground and it can't block the waterway, we're all in sync there.
Okay. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellie. Any other comments from the commission? Kelly, do you have any comments or suggestions?
I just wanted to address the landscaping debris that had been dumped on the bank. I assume that that's still there at this point, so that definitely needs to be removed before the work starts. And I think that area should be reseeded with some grasses just to get it a little more stabilized. I know there are plans to do bank stabilization here, but I think that area should definitely be addressed in the short term, just to stabilize an area that's impacted by having the landscaping debris dumped there.
Okay.
Other than that, if you can just include in the motion to include that the steps shall not be stored in the resource area and that the barge shall not be allowed to bottom out or block the waterway.
Thank you, Kelly. Rick, do you have another comment?
I do, Mark, just for your information, I'm not sure what the town of Dennis regulations are for bottoming barges, but they may be different than Yarmouth's, because I see that they have a barge further south in the river, well bottomed on the Dennis side. So you might want to check into that.
Oh, yeah, I see that. I know where you're talking about. I didn't know it was aground. I don't know of any town that allows barges to be grounded. It's generally not looked upon favorably.
That was my experience. That was my experience as well, but I just what I've seen recently.
Okay.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Mike. Does anybody in the audience have any comments or questions regarding this determination for applicability?
I don't see any raised hands at the moment.
Hearing or seeing none. Ellie, would you take a vote of the... Oh, let's get a motion, a form motion, if you would.
Well, I make a motion that we accept the this project with a -2 with the conditions of not bottoming out the barge and the stairs not on the resource area. They're stored somewhere else while the repair work is being done, and some erosion and let's go back. Landscape debris being removed and some erosion control being in place for this project.
Well put, Ellie. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Paul.
Thank you. I think that was Paul.
Yeah.
Okay. Ellie, will you take the roll, call the roll, please?
Kelly.
Sorry,
I
Kelly.
think that's Kelly.
Kelly. Kelly, will you call the roll, please? Well, I'll do it. Tom Durkin, aye. Patricia Mulhern,
Sorry.
thank you. Ellie Lawrence,
Aye.
Rick Bishop,
Aye.
Paul Huggins,
Aye.
David Bernstein.
Aye.
So that's 2, 4, that's 6 with no abstentions or concerns. All right, item number 3. Continued notice of intent. Continued from the latest 10/1/2020. Robert Griffin, Sweetheart Creek Association of Great Island Road, Yarmouth, Mass.
We have a request to continue this item until November 5th.
Okay, November 5th. Do I hear a motion for that continuance?
So moved, David.
Thank you, David. Do I hear a second?
Second, Rick.
Thank you, Rick. Did you call the roll, Kelly?
Bishop,
Aye.
Durkin,
Aye.
Bernstein,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Huggins,
Aye.
Mulhern.
Aye.
And I think Ed just joined us. Are you voting on that one?
Sure, I'll vote.
Okay.
I'll say aye.
Motion carries unanimously to continue to November 5th.
Good. Ed, welcome. Right now,
Thank you.
we're in agenda item number 4.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
All right, next order of business then is a continued notice of intent, continued from October 1st, 2020 for Anthony Viola, 1 Malfa Road, Yarmouth, Massachusetts. Proposed construction of wire log erosion control on a eroding bank, sand nourishment and plantings, and a coastal bank and land subject to coastal storm flowage.
And we received a request to continue to November 5.
All right, do I have a motion to continue to 11/5? Thank you. I think that was David.
Okay. Second, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. Kelly, would you call the roll?
Bishop,
Aye.
Durkin,
Aye.
Bernstein,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Hoops,
Aye.
Huggins,
Aye.
Mulhern.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thanks, Kelly. Next order of business is moving into certificates of compliance. We got 2 easy certificates of compliance. So do I have a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for SE 83-195939 Merchant Avenue, and for SE 83-2096-168 South Street. I heard somebody say that. I think it was. Who made the motion?
Paul.
Oh, Paul. Thank you,
No,
Paul.
I didn't make the motion.
Oh, sounded like.
No,
Would you like to make the motion?
I would.
Thank you.
So moved.
All right. Is there a second?
Second, Pat.
Thank you, Pat. Kelly, would you call the roll?
Bishop,
Aye.
Durkin,
Aye.
Bernstein,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Hoops,
Aye.
Huggins,
Aye.
Mulhern.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right. Thank you, Kelly. The next
Are we-
order of.
Excuse me a second, Ed. Are we
Yeah.
picking up another meeting or something?
Yeah, I was going to say, does anybody know who that is?
Somebody has some background noise in there. There you go. Thanks, David.
Right, so next order of business, another certificate of compliance for SE 83-2069 140 Blue Rock Road, Yarmouth. Kelly, I think everything's okay with this except that you would like to see the removal of the platform at the top of the bank.
Yeah, did we missed one?
I'm going back for that. I'll go back to that one last.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. So Blue Rock Road, yeah, there was just the extension for the storage of the storage bins that had been extended out the back of the platform. So just wanted to bring that to the commission's attention if they wanted to see that removed.
Okay, so yes, is that okay with everybody remove the extension?
Well, this is Mark again. You can hear me okay?
Yeah, I don't think we're taking comments on it, Mark, but if you have a quick comment, go ahead.
The extension that has the two storage benches, obviously he's asking to keep those. I didn't know that that was an issue. They do hang out in the air. They're not, they're not on the ground. There's a picture of them somewhere.
Yeah, so I think typically we would not permit that, something like that, but how feels the commission? Anybody?
I'm sorry, I lost you for a minute. What are we're talking about the two extensions on towards right there? Okay. And what are those for? Just storage?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, this, if I may, Mr. Chairman, the extension is open enough so that the sun gets in underneath for the plantings, but once you put those bins on there, it blocks the sun from the plants underneath. So I think that's the issue.
Okay, so would you support removal then, or do you think you're saying you think it's okay?
I would support the removal of it.
All right.
Are you
anybody? Paul?
Yeah. Are you just talking about those two boxes? On see the little extension on that, and it's these two box-like things here. Is that what you're
right?
calling?
You can.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
if they're not allowed, they're not allowed.
Okay. Anybody else?
Mr. Chairman, I agree. Once again, here's an example of people going outside of the permitted activity.
Okay. I mean, we did not approve that. That is correct, right? Right, Kelly?
So there you go.
That was not on the approved plan.
That's correct.
Okay, yeah. So I think given that, I mean, I would say it seems like the board is leaning toward the removal. So do I have a motion to issue the certificate of compliance after removal of the platform?
So moved.
Thank you, Rick. Is there a second?
Second, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. Kelly, you want to call the roll?
Bishop,
Aye.
Durkin,
Aye.
Bernstein,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Hoops,
Aye.
Huggins,
Aye.
Mulhern.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. Next order of business, another certificate of compliance for SE 83-2160 50 Heritage Drive, Yarmouth. This Kelly says it's okay to issue, but she would like continuing conditions of 11, 12, and 13. Do I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Thank you, Tom. Is there a second?
Second, Pat.
Thank you, Pat. Kelly, would you call the roll?
Bishop,
Aye.
Durkin,
Aye.
Bernstein,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Hoops,
Aye.
Huggins,
Aye.
Mulhern.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. And last certificate of compliance for SE 83-1750 28 Television Lane. I think we've got some issues with this one, Kelly.
Well, I did receive a letter from Down Cape today just saying that they had made improvements at the property and that those are completed. I haven't had the opportunity to go out and take a look at the property. I think I just received an email with some images, so I could go and look at those, or if you want to continue the COC to the next meeting, or if you want to do a approval subject to me confirming in the field.
All right. I mean, are you comfortable with the with confirming in the field and then issuing?
Yeah, we have a statement from the engineer confirming that the work has been completed and the site is in conformance. So on that basis, I could just confirm that in the field and then issue the COC if I'm satisfied.
Okay, you know, if there's any issues, just bring it back to us then.
Yep.
All right, do I have a motion to that effect then?
So move, David.
Thank you, David. Is there a second?
Second, Ellie.
Thank you, Ellie. Kelly, you want to call the roll?
Bishop,
Aye.
Durkin,
Aye.
Bernstein,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Hoops,
Aye.
Huggins,
Aye.
Mulhern.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you, Kelly. Thank you, everybody. Next order of business is other business, and it's a very brief discussion on the dock situation at 186 River Street. I believe Mark is in the audience for this. And Kelly, do you have anything to give us a little intro to this?
Yeah, so everyone has the packet of information that was provided by Mark. So if you've had the opportunity to review that, I guess the key points are that there was a dock that was existing back in the early 1900s.
Excuse me, Kelly, for a minute.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to recuse myself from this discussion, if I may.
Okay, thank you, Ellie. Let the record reflect that Commissioner Lawrence has recused herself from this discussion. Right.
Okay, so there was a license that was issued through the Harbour and Land Commissioners at the time. The dock was since destroyed during a storm and then wasn't rebuilt. And I think the Chapter 91 have since deemed it to be abandoned because it wasn't rebuilt within 5 years. So it's no longer a license for the structure. In terms of our regulations, to be approved, the dock needs to meet the regulations, it would need to be no greater than 80 feet in length, and to meet the 3 feet of water depth requirement, it would need to be, I understand, 125 feet in depth. Our regulations also have a 3-year limitation on reconstruction for a dock that is destroyed by a natural event. So obviously the 3-year window has closed, so it would require it to be treated as a new dock when it was reconstructed. So the prospective buyer of the property was just after any feedback as to whether it would be a supportable project.
Okay, Mark, did you have a specific question you need to ask then? Thank you, Kelly.
Yes. So after doing research, and I transferred elevations from other sites, so I confirmed where mean low water is on the site, and I've weighed it out there myself. And in fact, there is a PVC pole in the ground, in the water,
hey,
to
Mark,
show where the.
Mark,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Can I just stop you for one moment? So I just wanted also to just point this out to the commission that I'm going to ask Mark to be brief in his comments, but ultimately I think you're asking for an opinion, and I think we can give you an opinion, but we will not be providing any straw poll vote on any of this. Okay, this is purely conjecture. We're offering opinion, but we are not offering to do any kind of voting. So I just want to make the commissioners aware that there is no straw poll vote associated with this. So it's just an opinion. All right, sorry, Mark, go ahead.
That's okay. Yes, we understand that, and the prospective property owner should be on the line, and he can state it for the record, but I will, that we do understand that this is an opinion. It's necessary to at least ask the question because the sale of the property hinges on this, and it's quite a large amount of money. So we won't hold the commission accountable for your opinion, And this is all based on the assumption that if we provide an application, a notice of intent for a new dock, that it would be under the conditions that I'm specifying right now. And if it changed beyond that, then, we are literally starting over. So I've walked out there, waited out. It's about 125 feet where the yellow line is where Kelly has. A dock in this location wouldn't extend as far as the two adjacent docks. They are out about 145 feet. The dock to the north is permitted in 2005. So what do? A dock here could meet all of the conditions of your regulations. If we went to 80 feet, we would have to get a variance against the depth. I don't think that's the environmentally responsible way to put a dock here. Since the two docks on either side go out further than we need to get 3 feet, we would have to request a variance against the length. Google Earth doesn't show any pictures in the summertime, but in the application, they were provided some drone pictures. Basically, seaward of both of these docks is a mooring field, and then seaward of that is where the channel is, where boats transit. So I wouldn't see that navigation is an issue. I believe a variance could be granted on the basis that it's not harmful to the environment. It's in character with the neighborhood. And if you guys saw the plan, I just think it was really amazing to see what Bass River looked like before they changed its course. I had no idea I'd ever find that on a piece of paper. But that's the intent here, is that if we were to go for an application, we would just like an opinion from the commission of whether a variance is even possible. And of course, I do think so, because it's not detrimental, it's not sticking out, and it is in character, and it wouldn't damage the environment at all.
Okay, all right, thanks, Mark. So
yep.
My first comment, I guess my only comment on this, is that the issue, certainly the issue of variance on water depth, I don't think, I think you made a valid point that we just aren't going to do that. In terms of length and the variance for the overall length of the dock, personally, I mean, this was the reason why we put the dock regulations into effect, so we don't have this continual creep of docks going further and further out to achieve minimum water depth. So since the new regulations have gone in, I don't know of any time we've ever given any kind of a variance for overall length of dock beyond that 80 foot, and I wouldn't encourage it at this point. So that's my opinion. I don't know if there's anything. Do any of the commissioners disagree with that?
No.
So I think that would be I think that the position of the commission, Mark.
Well, I can certainly understand that. In granting a variance, of course, you have to look at the site conditions, and as far as precedent and things like that, we've all had those conversations. For this particular site with so much frontage and the dock not sticking out any further than the others on either side of them, our feeling was that the board could grant or certainly investigate a variance, because it's not like the dock is going to stick out beyond anybody else. I totally get that, but here it's really basically in character. Plenty of setback, plenty of room everywhere, and they're not interfering with moorings or navigation or anything. So it basically thought that a variance granted here, given this completely unique set of circumstances, would not be detrimental to the environment, and therefore could be granted.
Okay. Again, I don't think it's a unique situation. In fact, when we were putting the dock regulations together years ago, this was actually a very similar situation. This is what we were looking at when we were trying to determine the 80 foot, and this was one of the reasons why we kept it at 80 feet. because we didn't want to see that creep beyond the 80 foot and the creeping out further and further and further out to achieve water depth. So again, I think you've, without going any further into it, I think you've gotten the opinion of the board at this point as far as variances on length go.
Yeah. Well, I've always understood why the 80-foot length was there, and in other places in the river, you shouldn't go out more than 80 feet because you would be impeding. That's why we were asking here, because that's not the case here. Does anybody else on the commission have? I know that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Does anybody else on the commission have anything they want to say? Crickets.
I think that says it all there, Mark.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate your time. Was the plan at all interesting to anybody to see that part of history?
Yes.
I thought that was really, really cool. Okay. Well, I think I'm done with you guys. No offense. We've covered everything. So.
Try not to get our feelings hurt there, Mark.
I understand. All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
We'll sign off. Okay. Bye.
Thank you. All right. So our next order of business, and moving into enforcement orders, we've got an enforcement order for 28 Edith Road. This is a dock violation. And Kelly, I think you're looking. We've already discussed all of this. I think you're just looking for a simple vote to approve the enforcement order. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, actually, this was a relatively new one. This was an order of conditions recently issued for this property to extend the fixed pier in replacement of floats, and approved a jet ski float to get the jet ski floats out of, to install a jet ski lift to get the jet ski floats out of the water. And then since then, a float has been added to the new fixed pier. And it's been added on the basis, as we have seen a couple of other examples recently, that it has been registered as a vessel. So I sent a violation notice to the property owner, and they obviously responded that they don't consider it to be a float, they consider it to be a vessel, and so their intention wasn't to remove it. So at that point, I suggested that we would need to therefore proceed with an enforcement order, which is why I put it on the agenda as such. They have since asked for a continuance to this so that they can consult with their attorney and have their attorney present at the hearing for the enforcement order. So I am bringing that to you if you want to continue this to the next meeting, or if you want to proceed with, I haven't issued, so I'm asking, the original intent was to ask for the enforcement order ratification, so I could issue that.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Rick?
I'm not 100% sure it was this float, but I saw a float with MS numbers go by me on Bass River today on the back of a truck.
Yeah,
So
and they did signal their intention to remove their vessels, their boats, for the season. So that it may well have been this one that was removed, but I assume by that the intention is that it's going to come back next season. So I think it's still worth addressing.
Indeed.
Yes.
I agree. So we haven't issued the enforcement order at this point.
No.
Okay.
So I guess the options are that we continue to the next meeting before we issue the enforcement order, or you go ahead and issue the enforcement order and then allow a hearing for the property owner for that enforcement order if he wanted to bring his attorney along to that.
I mean, personally, I would say you should probably issue the enforcement order, and then the attorney can come to an enforcement hearing,
right,
specifically dealing with that. But I'll send it over to the other members. I see Tom, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, that sounds like the most logical position for us to take. I'm also very interested in what Ellie has said about why the idiocy exists that this be a vessel. And I think that that should be looked into very seriously.
Yeah, I don't know how they get approval, because when I had a boat that we made from scratch, we had to get an Massachusetts environmental police officer to come and inspect it, to give us a hull identification number before we could even have it registered. Now, I don't know if this float has a hull identification number, and even if they put an engine on it, it's not as far as they're concerned, a vessel that is viable for the water.
So yeah, this was from our previous examples of this. I'd spoken to our town council about it, who confirmed my opinion that for the purposes of our regulations, this is deemed to be a float, regardless of whether they register it as a vessel. For the purposes of our regulations, it's considered to be a float.
We're going to have the lawyer hit that issue very hard, I believe, at the next meeting that we talk about this. And I think we should have some understanding of why that piece of wood has been declared as a vessel.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
This is David.
No, David, sorry, okay.
That's okay. I agree with Tom, first of all. Second of all, am I right that we have another property that also has a float that they think is a vessel, or is this the only one?
We had two others that we took enforcement action against, and they removed theirs.
Okay, so they don't think they're vessels. This is the only one who thinks they're a vessel.
They registered theirs as vessels, but then they removed them based on the enforcement action.
Okay, what I'm going to say probably speaks a lot about the type of person I am, but how do we know these are real, legitimate numbers they put on them? I can go buy numbers and throw them on anything. I throw them on, anything. So
yeah, we had Natural Resources look the numbers up in the state database and found them. The other two, not this one, but the other two were.
Okay, and who gives them the okay to put the numbers on there? Or how do we know what the application looks like? Did the application say square wooden?
I think it was something like the other one was like a pontoon boat or something that they called it.
Okay.
But it did reference it as a float as well, I think.
Okay. I just think, I feel like I'm in Monty Python. I just think this is an absurd idea that's a vessel. I'd like to see them get out there and kick it around or something. I don't know. It's just not a vessel to me. And but I do agree with Tom. We need to get our opinions out to know when they bring their lawyer that we have something behind us. Because he's going to have some kind of something behind him. I'll keep it at that. Thank you.
As my British friend would say, pretty cheeky.
Yeah.
Well, and
just to show my ignorance, who do they send this application to? Who gives them these numbers? Who does that?
Ellie, can you?
The Mass Environmental Police, not the RMV, the Marine registration gives them the numbers. But with this COVID thing, I don't know if anybody's looking at any of this stuff, and they're just giving out the numbers because they're so backlogged. But this is just, it's incomprehensible to me how these get passed through all the stuff that they need to do.
Agreed.
I agree. Paul?
Yeah, there must be some specifications that the environmental police hold to determine what constitutes a vessel and what doesn't. Because,
exactly.
So at the very least, I think it's already been suggested, we have to have that information from that registering authority with us when we discuss this with the attorney, right? I mean, many of us have boats, and we all have to register our boats, and so we register them vis-a-vis, regulations that require us to do that. Now, this thing, again, like everybody said, doesn't appear to be any kind of vessel that we know of, but maybe environmental police can help us out with that.
Don't you have to have a title with your boat in Massachusetts?
No, because if you make your own boat, you don't have a title. It's a homemade boat. But the thing is, you don't need to register a boat unless it has an engine on it.
Okay.
You don't have to register a sailboat. You don't have to register a rowboat. You don't have to register anything else unless you want some sort of identification on it. But it does need to be registered if it has an engine. So, you know, I think we should ask this guy to take us out for a ride on this thing.
Well, one other thing that Ellie just said, it has to be homemade. Now, this doesn't look like it's homemade. It looks like it was purchased someplace from a dock builder or something like that.
Oh, well, it's homemade by the dock builder.
Oh, I see. Okay. Dock builder all of a sudden is a boat builder? Okay. Thank you.
What does our environmental police department think of it? Our town environmental.
Natural resources.
Exactly.
They were in a similar position to us. They were kind of left scratching their heads as to why this would have been registered, and that, in their opinion, it doesn't constitute a vessel. And I think, and I did do some of this background, and I do have that information based on the last two that we did enforcement on. And I'll provide that information again for this one for an enforcement hearing. But I also spoke with the Chapter 91 folks who would also deem it to be a structure that requires a license.
Good, that's good.
Isn't there a local environmental police officer for state?
There is one that's for the Cape, not the entire Cape. There's one for the lower Cape and one for the upper Cape in Wareham. Sorry, the phone's ringing. Hold on. Finished with that. And the natural resources would know who the officer is at this point. It was Kevin Clayton, but I think he's moved on. I don't know who the new one is at this point.
I guess why I'm asking, is it worth getting his opinion on this or not?
Kevin is overseeing all of the, I think he's supervising almost all of the Marine Patrol people now. I think that's his new position.
Okay.
But he would certainly be somebody who we could tap for information as well.
I think we should do that.
And I think we still need to, I hate to say it, but I don't know if we need Carl, or if we could ask, you know, I don't think the EPOs would be willing to come to the meeting, but either Carl and or the town attorney may need to show up, because I don't want to be put in a position where we have a lawyer on one side that's spouting all sorts of policies and directives and case law, and we have no idea if he's telling us
I agree.
whatever he's telling us is true or not.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree, definitely.
Would that be, Kelly, can we?
So would you prefer to do that before we actually issue the enforcement order? Because once we issue the enforcement order, they would need to appeal it to Superior Court to contest it. So would you prefer to get some more clarification on the standing before you go ahead with issuing the enforcement order?
The enforcement order would only be delayed by about 2.5 weeks, right?
That's correct.
And in the meantime, if it is the dock that Rick saw, it's the end of the season, or the float Rick saw, it's the end of the season. There's nothing to enforce because it's out.
Well, yeah, I mean, the violation already happened, but I guess there needs to be some statement made as to that it can't return, or if it's gone at this point, you can leave it and then you can pick it up in the spring if it returns.
I have a feeling some of the other ones are going to return too.
Really, I
agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to. I guess we could write the enforcement order as it is and say, you know, that the float was there and needs to be removed. And if it's already been removed and it's not planning on coming back, then we could ask that the homeowner provide a written letter to that effect that we could put in the file. And then if it shows up again in the spring, you know, I mean, if he's sitting there saying, "Oh, I've removed the float," then okay, that's fine. Remove the float. But if it shows up in the fall, or sorry, in the spring, then, I'd rather have that note, that letter in the file that says, no, I to get rid of the enforcement order, I said, no, I'm removing it. Here's my letter saying I've removed it and I understand that it's not coming back. And if I would suspect that he's not going to write that letter, to be honest with you. So I think that would allow the enforcement order to move forward.
Well,
Okay.
as history
Oh, go ahead,
repeats, last year we told these some of these people to remove the jet ski floats, and then they came back this year, and we had to ask them again. So it's just a game that they're playing, like shuffling the shells.
I also get the feeling that they talk to each other, and therefore they're going to come as a group, not as just a one-on-one. I wouldn't be surprised that lawyer is hired by all of them.
Well, I think we just need to make sure that we can't worry about what their motive is, other than, or whether or not they're acting as a group. But I think we need to handle each one, and I think we need to nip this in the bud now.
Yeah, I agree.
That, like Ellie had said, that it's going to be 3 next year and 5 the year after, and next thing you know, it'll be out of control. So. I don't have an issue. The enforcement order can be written at any time. The violation was observed. We have a picture of it. So the enforcement order can be written anytime within 2 years of that violation, without having any effect on the validity of the enforcement action. So extending it another 2 weeks to get the additional information, I don't see that's a problem. But I think personally, I would just say, write the enforcement order, send it to them, have the enforcement hearing, and have our attorney can provide some background information, and hopefully show up at the enforcement hearing, and then we can let them battle it out as well. Does that make sense to everybody, or?
Sure.
I agree.
Can I ask a question, Ed?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know over in Dennis, I have a friend who has a house on the water over there, and he has to pay I don't know if it's a tax or a fee or whatever for any boats that are docked at his pier. Okay. Does Yarmouth have that?
No.
Okay.
No.
So if they did, then it's been determined that this is a vessel, then he would have to pay additional fees. I mean, might that be something to look into if this becomes a problem? To charge a fee for the docks? Maybe we don't want to do that, but I know Dennis does it.
Yeah, I'd try and nip this in the bud first.
Yeah.
I agree with
that. I'm just trying to think down the road here.
Yeah, we definitely have to stop this occurring, because this would mean that every single dock on the river could add as many floats as they want, as long as they registered them.
And just
so the regulations would be meaningless.
Right.
I just think this is just shows these people are being very rude and to our commission, showing no respect to it, especially when they got this fixed dock, this fixed float in the first place, which was more of a gift to them. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you, Pat.
I agree with Pat. This whole float business, especially this one, after giving them the full dock, which I didn't like in the first place, is a slap in the face to us. It's like, I can do whatever I want, and you try and show me I can't.
I agree with Ellie. I think certain arrogance here.
Okay, so it sounds to me like we want to go forward with the enforcement order, have an enforcement hearing, and in between have the town attorney and maybe Carl give us some information. We'll check in with Kevin Clayton as well. Have the enforcement hearing and have the town attorney be present with us at that hearing. Is that correct? Are we moving toward that goal?
I agree.
Yeah, sounds good.
Is that a
Kelly, does that
motion?
sound reasonable?
Yep, sounds good to me.
Okay, so why don't we, do you want a motion to that effect then, or you just?
Yep, motion. Yeah, motion would be good to issue the enforcement order.
Okay, so do I have a motion to issue the enforcement order and have an enforcement hearing? Well, I'll just leave it at that. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Thank you, Ellie. Is there a second?
Second, David.
Thank you, David. Kelly, would you call the roll?
Bishop? Durkin?
Aye.
Bernstein?
Aye.
Lawrence?
Aye.
Hoops?
Aye.
Huggins?
Aye.
Mulhern?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Dan Ojala was in the audience and had his hand raised, but you're all set, Mr. Chairman.
So he's lowered his hand.
He has lowered his hand now, yes.
So I'm sorry, Dan. Hope
We will have an
wasn't,
opportunity to discuss.
Is he still there? He's not there with us anymore?
He is here. He's just lowered his hand. So
Okay, Dan, did you need to say something about that, or
yep, there you go.
raise your hand if it's pertinent to this one?
Yeah, I was just going to mention, I was going to put my 2 cents in for continuance, but, you know, I don't think it's unreasonable what the board voted. It's 6 of one, half dozen the other. The owner, you know, certainly wants to comply with all the rules and regulations. So if the wind is blowing the wrong direction, he won't, he'll certainly listen to all the rules and regulations. So thank you.
Okay, all right, thanks, Dan. Next order of business then is a violation at 355 Great Island Road. Oh, look, unpermitted floats, open order of conditions.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was one of the Sweetheart Creek properties that I had sent a violation notice to, and they had requested a continuance, and I've allowed Tanya in the audience. She's representing the property owner. Might be her little dog in the background. So I'll just give you a quick overview of this one. If I can find the sheet. So this was a dock that was approved in 1977 under an old order of conditions. There was no certificate of compliance on file for the original construction of the dock. It had a float approved at 6 feet by 16 feet, which was 96 square feet. The property changed ownership in 2009, and in about 2010, additional floats were added. There are currently 2 floats at 6 feet by 16 feet each, which that doesn't make sense because those numbers don't add up. But I had a calculation of 256 square feet.
You said 6 feet. I think it's 8 feet by
8 feet.
16.
Yeah, I think I've got a typo on the sheet. So 8 feet by 16 feet each. So yeah, and these are the images of the floats as they are at the moment. So I did receive some information through from Tanya with details of a certificate of compliance issued for the property, but that was for the structure when the home was built. And I do have, they also sent a copy of the Chapter 91 license for the dock, which shows the 6 by 16 foot float that was licensed. So what's there at the moment is not licensed.
Okay, well.
And Tanya is there if you want to hear from her.
All right, well, we'll get to her in just a moment. I mean, personally, I'm getting sick and tired of this float stuff. I mean, people are doing whatever they want, and they're not paying attention to this. The 91 permit, the town of Yarmouth permit said 6 by 16 foot float. I don't know why we're even discussing it. So that's what you were given. That's what you're supposed to have, especially for Sweetheart Creek, given all the other issues that we're dealing with in the near future now. 6 by 16 is what you were permitted. 6 by 16 is what you should have. And I'm sorry if it's been done by a change of ownership. You should have asked. You've got more than enough opportunities to ask and see what's going on. They didn't. And my personal view is just issue the enforcement order, tell them to go back to what they were originally permitted, and be done with it. That's mine. I'll turn it over to the rest of the commission for their comments. Anybody?
Yeah,
Paul?
yeah, I agree totally with you.
All right, anybody else?
This is Pat.
I agree.
Ellie, Pat, did you?
I say agree.
Okay.
I agree. David?
All right, David?
You know I do, Ed.
I kind of figured you were going to chime in there at some point.
If I may,
Ellie?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
is there, I know we've tackled this before, the people who are making these floats, is there any way we can regulate them coming to us instead of just slapping something together and saying, oh yeah, I can build it for you with money in their pocket? I mean, it's like the landscapers tearing stuff up when they should know. Is there?
Yeah, I mean, I have a thought on it, but I don't know if you want to discuss it now or if you want to wait until we get back into regulation discussions again. But
okay,
I mean, in other towns, you're required to fill out a form every time you perform any kind of maintenance, besides pulling or putting floats in, pulling floats out. You have to fill out a form ahead of time before you do the work, and that's the time to say, okay, well, here we have an issue. You can't be putting in 2 feet of float where you're only supposed to have 16.
Like a building permit.
It's essentially, I mean, it's another way that the commission can review something. It has another layer then of allowing us to look at something, and they have to say, we're going to perform maintenance on this structure. Here's the 91 permit. Here's the town of Yarmouth permit. These were the conditions that were put on it. And if it varies from that, then they would have to obviously come back. You wouldn't sign off on that chain or on that maintenance form. You would require them to come back and file, whatever appropriate files with the commission to have a change. So that's one way we could certainly put some sort of a maintenance anytime they do any kind of change of configuration, change of size, anything like that would have to automatically and that's something that the marine contractor would have to they have to fill that out. And they are used to doing that in other towns. So I know full well all of the marine contractors that service the Cape are very familiar with doing that, and they're used to doing it in other towns. So it's not like we're adding something onto it.
Okay, that's a good idea. Good idea. Yeah.
So I think I'll turn it over. I'm sorry, I forget who was representing this, the homeowner?
Tanya.
So Tanya, would you like to say anything?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I just want to first thank you for hearing me. I was a little concerned being last on the agenda and having a bit of transfer of other frustrations of the board, which I can certainly agree with, the adding of floats. We're not here to deny that. The floats were added several years ago, probably between 2009 and 2010. In all honesty, have been added since that year. I represent the owners, and they are by no means being arrogant, or that's not me, aggressive or disrespectful to this board. So if I could at least alleviate that, I know that you won't take a vote on that, but I honestly don't want to be the recipient or have these owners a recipient of many violations that the town of Yarmouth has seen. So speaking for the owners, we apologize for that. We're here to correct it. the Beacon Marine Construction, as I sent Kelly today, of course, is taking out all of the floats, permitted and non-permitted. My first concern, if the board, or if I need to meet with Kelly privately, that's fine, is to address the open order of conditions. This open order of conditions, again, has been a problem for some time. I have spent over a month and a half since the violation occurred, or since the violation letter was sent by Kelly, tracking down the numerous attorneys during the 2009 transfer of this property, which wasn't the easiest transfer. I am seeking some type of guidance to try to find the closure, at least of this open order of conditions, so we can be in compliance. And then secondly, the owners will not be putting back the non-permitted or the unpermitted, excuse me, floats. I can assure you of that. This is not a game with these owners. We will address this with the commission properly, and the owners will decide what course to take and what they would like to try to go for. At the very least, I know that they will be back with the 8x16 that was originally permitted. So regarding the open order of conditions, I am seeking your guidance because it's aged. And to what extent do we need to close that out at this time, please? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And just so you understand, we no matter how many of these we have seen, we take each one for what it is and what is presented for each violation. So we're not dumping other frustrations on you, believe me. So Kelly, the COC is for the dock and pier, correct? Or the dock and floats, is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. And it was, the approved plan was for a 6x16 float. So I guess in order to be able to issue a COC for it, it would need to match the approved plan.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's typically how you need to marry what's on the water and that was built to the plan of record. And so if the plan of record is saying 6x16, a 6x16 float, then that's what they're going to be looking for. Anything above that you would have to say that it was not compliant, and then it's up to the commission to decide how far out of compliance are we willing to allow something to go. And I'm not speaking specifically of floats and piers, but I'm saying as in general, that's what has to happen. Is we have to somehow resolve those two. What is currently there, what was permitted, and how do we get that COC? I think in this case the COC was is pretty much straightforward. If that's what it said, 6x16 foot float, then that's what we should ask for.
Understood.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion among the board?
So at this stage, with the floats having been removed, would you consider, aside from the outstanding order of conditions, that the violation has been resolved? And then I guess the COC would almost need to wait to be issued until there are floats there so that we can confirm the float size. So they may need to wait until the springtime or provide a letter or some confirmation of what the float size will be. Probably make more sense to wait until the spring and see what actually comes back before that COC is.
Otherwise, we're just, I think we have to wait. I don't have a problem with waiting and seeing exactly what gets put back in.
So we would just need to set a time frame by which a COC request was filed, which demonstrated that the compliant float size was in place. And that could be the resolution to the violation.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, if you put what, June 1st? That seemed reasonable. I mean, I think most people are looking to get their floats in before June, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that, Mr. Chairman.
So, I mean, I would just suggest June 1st, 2021 as the deadline to request the COC.
Mhm. Okay.
And then assuming that it's, you know, we have that 6 by 16 foot float sitting there in the water, then it's compliant and no need for any further enforcement then.
Mhm. Okay, so would that be an enforcement order that would have that included in it, or would that be a follow-up violation notice?
We could certainly go with we could try a violation notice first.
Yeah, I mean, the willingness of the property owner to address
they-
it by having them removed means that the current path is working in terms of getting a resolution. So at this point, I would be comfortable with a violation notice. And then if there was an issue come June 1st, then we could move to an enforcement order then.
Right, I agree.
I agree.
Okay, Tom, thank you.
Yeah, I agree as well, Mr. Chairman.
Yep, I'm with that.
I concur.
Okay, so so Tanya, do you understand what we're saying?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
We may be, or the owners may be back far before June 1st. If
No, that's
they're
perfectly acceptable.
exactly that's really, I'm here today. I mean, not to address another issue, but just to tell the board that in the coming meetings, it'll be number 369 Great Island, which is the same owner with the same situation. So I'm just giving a preview to this to combine the two, but today it's for 355 for all legal purposes.
Okay.
The owner, I believe, may come back to the board this winter, far before June 1, to, if they choose anything different besides the 6 by 16. And then secondly, the June 1 is more than fine with us. We appreciate that. We just want to make sure that we're in front of the board in a timely manner, in a respectful manner, to address this violation properly, and not to come back in June and not to be put in the pool of others that are in violation. We don't want to be there, nor does number 369 wish to be there. I do believe you'll see us this winter. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. With that said, unless there's any further discussion among the commission, and I would suggest, would somebody like to make a motion that we issue a violation warning letter with the specific dates for compliance and COC request?
So moved.
Thank you, Tom. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Rick. Kelly, would you call the roll?
Bishop,
Aye.
Durkin,
Aye.
Bernstein,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Hoops,
Aye.
Huggins,
Aye.
Mulhern.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Tanya. That last order of business minutes, approval of minutes for October 1st, 2020. Tom, would you like to make a motion to that?
I'm sorry, I didn't see it on the agenda, and I'm not prepared to make a motion.
Oh, Tom.
Did anybody?
I read them.
Did you read them? Do you agree with them?
Yes, I do.
All right. Do you have any changes to them?
No, but I don't read it as closely as Tom, but
Who does?
Well, we're going to give you the opportunity. So do you want to make the motion, or?
So moved to accept
Is there a
as
second?
written.
I have faith in David. I second that.
All right. So Tom is seconding. Kelly, would you call the roll?
Oops,
Aye.
Durkin,
Aye.
Mulhern,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Bishop,
Aye.
Huggins,
Aye.
Bernstein.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Kelly, any staff updates?
I have a couple of updates, just brief ones. We have a person working in the office with me at the moment who is helping to finalize the filing project that Ellie had worked on with us in the past just to get that project finished. So that's great. She's working 50 hours for us in total. And thanks to Pat, we got a tip for a intern who is a final year environmental science student who is looking to do an internship. So I am at the moment speaking with him to arrange for him to come and work for me for a number of weeks through the fall to help out in the administrative assistance position to just fill that gap for the short term. I am now mostly working back in the office. I'm not really working from home anymore, mostly because supervising people in the office I can't really do from home. So I've transitioning back to the office, though town hall does still remain, only have limited opening to the public, the usual hours, but I am available by appointment if needed. So you can contact me a little more easily by my desk phone now. And that is all I have. I did see there's a couple of people still in the audience. I don't know if anyone had anything, but Tom also has his hand raised.
Yeah, I just think it's appropriate to thank Ellie for stepping in a number of times, both on the minutes and other issues, to kind of help Kelly plug this problem of a lack of assistance in the office. Thank you, Ellie.
Well said, Tom. Thank you, and thank you very much to Ellie. We certainly do appreciate all of the extra work that you've been doing on that. That makes a big difference to Kelly and us.
I'm trying to keep the admin sane.
I appreciate it.
Nice going.
All right. Anything else among the commission? Is there? Let's see, we still have 2 attendees. Nick, did you have any issues, or did you not realize you were continued?
Maybe he's just observing.
All right. Well, Nick, if you have anything to say, this is your last chance. Otherwise, raise your hand. If not, otherwise we'll go back. Nothing else among the commission. I would ask if anybody has a, if they have nothing. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, do we have a chat? Oh,
That's right.
that's just you. Okay. All right.
All right. So if not, do I have a motion then to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Pat. Let's see then. We show that the meeting is adjourned at 5:53 p.m. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, thank you.
Can we just call the roll call vote for that? Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, actually, okay, go ahead. But
we don't need to.
I found out that I can. That's one thing that I don't even need a motion for. I can declare it adjourned right from the bench here. So
consider it done then.
What the heck? I just like
power.
It's gone to his head. It really has.
Yeah. It's just too much.